Hello, I'm Amy Zabi with the Jerusalem Connection Report for Friday, March 21st, a red alert, Terrorism and Antisemitism. What is the connection? In the last few weeks, we have seen an uptick of anti-Semitic activities and threats against Jewish community centers in North America, as well as events on college campuses and in the community at large. These things are being investigated by the FBI and some progress has been made. In Blacksburg, Virginia, just last week, there was an anti-Semitic leaflet dropping at the Jewish Community Center, and a friend of mine who is a member of Halal and a student there is going to provide me with her first-hand statement in the coming days as I interview her. In the meantime, I would like to discuss the event that happened in London 2 days ago, which was a terrorist attack against the Western world in general. The attack in London, of course, was not against the Jews per se, but it was an attack style that the Israelis and the Jews and citizens of Israel have been feeling for well over 18 months. 55 such types of attacks have happened on the streets of Israel since September 2015, also including stabbing attacks and not only deaths, but deaths of Americans as well. In a recent article just yesterday released by the Associated Press, they attempted to document this vehicle-style terrorist attacks in the Western world and noted 6 additional attacks, including the one in London 2 days ago. And this is all fine and good, as we have to remember that ISIS is trying to recruit rogue members or followers to hurt and maim as many Westerners as possible by whatever means they have at their disposal, which could be a car or a truck or a knife or a combination. And this, of course, is wreaking havoc for the civilian population in all these freedom-loving democratic nations. The problem with this article is that it omitted the nation of Israel. Out of this analysis of vehicle-style terrorist attacks on civilian populations in Australia, Germany, several in France, Canada, and Scotland, they did not at all mention that the democratic state of Israel has felt the pressure of these type of attacks directed by terrorists and carried out by Palestinians on their very streets in record numbers, unacceptable numbers, since September 2015. I'm not sure why the label of terrorist attack by vehicle would not have been assigned to the events in Israel as these attacks were carried out in anyone that was trying to analyze this particular topic. And I don't know what the author was thinking. Are the events in Israel using these vehicles to attack civilian populations nothing more than criminal events, or perhaps just disgruntled inhabitants? Terror is terror, no matter where it takes place and no matter whom it is taking place against. And to leave out this one nation's experience is to dismiss or demean or lower their credibility as victims and as targets of terror. Now, the AP reporters may not have done this on purpose, that is, to omit the Israeli stats on this topic of vehicle terrorism, but it is another reminder of the undercurrent and discounting and dismissing of and marginalizing the very fight for survivals that Israelis have to face every day and that Jews often face on a daily basis. We cannot call ourselves a people of civility and be outraged at the events in London, as we well should be, if we are not also outraged at the events on the streets of Israel. We are all feeling terrible for and sad and the horror of what happened to the Londoners and to those in Nice and those in Belgium and everywhere. And nobody should minimize that trauma or horror that those victims have felt. We also have to recognize that the Israeli citizens are also feeling this same horror, and we need to have that same reciprocity, because the Israelis always step up to support victims of terror worldwide. And they do this in a variety of ways, including sending help, sending professionals to investigate. And in Tel Aviv, just last night, the town hall was lit up in solidarity with Londoners, and it said, in lights, "We stand with London." Israelis always look to support those victims of terror worldwide, and we must also always look to Israel and support them as they suffer victimhood, as they are often on the front lines of victims of terror. I give Israel and the Jewish people a great amount of credit because it seems that for every act of hate against them or dismissal against their plight, they seem to respond with an opposite vigor. They reach out and they help. Israelis and Jews worldwide rise up to support victims no matter where their location or what their ethnicity. And I'm going to discuss this more next week as we analyze what happened in Blacksburg, Virginia. But the goal of the Jewish students who made a response to this act in Virginia was to, quote, with every one act of hate, respond with 100 acts of love and kindness. Christians must learn to emulate this characteristic of the Jewish people, and it is part of our very identity. We are the hands and feet of Christ, and as so, we must reach out and stand up with these victims of terror and these victims of hate. We need to express truth and expose it wherever it's buried, and show up and express and show our love and offering a helping hand wherever we can. This is what happened in Blacksburg in the last week, and those details are in next week's report. Shavua Tov. Have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.